Good morning, children. Welcome to Bharti Central School, Halga. Subject Computer, Grade 8th, and I'm your teacher, Aisha S. Khan. Let's start the computer syllabus with the unit number 1, that is knowledge of important concepts. You know about the different parts of a computer, children, right? But do you know how the memory works? The memory stores data in two forms, temporary and permanent, based on the commands you give. In this chapter, you will learn how the computer memory saves data, the different types of processors which impact the speed of the computer, and the different types of communication equipment available and their use. Now let's start with memory storage. Just like we humans have a brain memory to save information and experiences, the computer too has a memory, children. There is a memory chip on the motherboard of a computer. This memory chip comprises of random access memory, that is RAM, and read-only memory, that is ROM. Let's learn in detail what is random access memory. RAM is the main memory of the computer. The RAM is also known as read and write memory because we can write information to the RAM and also read information stored on it. This memory saves instructions given to the computer after turning it on, such as printing a document, opening a browser, etc. All these are input commands, children. Okay. RAM also saves temporary data such as the results to be displayed or text written. This information is lost if you turn off the computer and can be accessed later from the hard disk. The next one is the read-only memory, that is ROM. ROM is a small part of the memory where important instructions are stored, such as instructions to boot the computer. The instructions stored on the ROM are not lost if you turn off the power supply. However, the computer can only read the instructions stored in the ROM. You cannot write, that is, save instructions on the ROM. I hope RAM and ROM is clear to you, children. Now let's talk about the processors. The CPU cabinet has a chip inside which is the main memory of the computers, having a lot of graphics and animation work. The chip is called the processor. There are different types of processors available. The speed of your computer depends on the type of processor you choose. Fastest processors like i7 and i5 are expensive and recommended for computer. The gist of this para is your computer speed depends upon the processor which you use. Okay. For regular home use, the less expensive Intel Pentium dual-core processor or AMD A4 works well. Let's talk about the latest communication equipment. SMS mobile roaming mode. When you use mobile phone outside the geographical coverage area of your home network of mobile service provider while traveling, you are set to be in a roaming mode. The phone then uses a third-party network or a visited network for communication. For example, children, when you are traveling to Goa from Belgaum, that time you are on a roaming mode and your cell uses the third-party network. Okay? Let's talk about the wireless in local loop, that is WIL. In wireless local loop technology, the telephone is connected to the nearest exchange using a radio link. The different technologies that implement wireless in local loop are frequency division multiple access, that is FDMA, time division multiple access, TDMA, and code division multiple access, that is CDMA. The advantages of using WLL technologies are no digging of trenches involved to lay cables. This is beneficial for remote locations. Fewer cable faults as the cables are replaced by a radio link. WLL is cheaper than copper cable connectivity. Now let's talk about the call center. A call center functions as a central node which handles a large amount of telephone calls to manage customer requests. Telephone calls are managed by agents who use a computer, a headset for customer request. In MNC's children, that is multinational companies, there are different processes, inbound process and outbound process. There it is called as a call center, where like at a time different agents manage the inbound calls or the outbound calls using a computer headset or a headset for computer request. Now what are inbound calls, children? When you get a call, that is called as an inbound call. And what are outbound calls? When you make a call, that is an outbound call. For example, you're working for a call center and you're making a call for for the premium of your insurance. You're giving a call to a customer, so that is called as an outbound call. And when you are receiving some call for some information or a query, that is called as an inbound call. Okay, I hope the concept is clear to you, children. Now let's talk about the teleconferencing. Teleconferencing is a general term that is used to describe a method used to arrange a meeting of people located at distant physical locations using electronic means. Various technologies can be employed for the teleconference like computers, satellite and telephone systems, etc. Many teleconferencing methods enable two-way communication and users can send or receive messages at a convenient time without being present in the conversation. There are different types of teleconferencing, children. Audio teleconferencing, computer teleconference and video teleconference. Now what is video conferencing? This method uses a camera and a microphone to capture video and audio to show the participants. A simple setup would provide still images and text between two locations. A complex setup would provide a full video and a high quality audio between multiple locations. For example, nowadays when your teachers are teaching you, that is also an example of a video teleconferencing, right? Your teachers are teaching you online. They also have some meetings. So all this is done using video teleconferencing. Now what are the advantages of video teleconferencing, children? Advantages of video teleconferencing are low travel cost, development of familiarity between participants, sharing of files and data. Now let's talk about cable television. In broadcast television, a television signal is transmitted through the air and is received by an antenna at the subscriber's house to display it on the television. When you see your cable TV, children, have you ever wondered how do you see the program on the TV? It is done with the help of a broadcast television. Okay, a television signal is transmitted through the air and is received by an antenna at the subscriber's house to display it on the television. A cable television system uses a cable called as coaxial cable to distribute television signals to subscribers. I hope the concept is clear to you, children. If you have any doubt, you can contact me. Have a fabulous day ahead. Thank you, children.